Oh, Pearson gets into the 95 of Fultz. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona, and away go for the first time. Nicholas Morcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Up now as we've got three wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
Just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
New stuff. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Oklahoma.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the League Zero Racing Series, the premier Formula iRacing League. Today, we are joining us in Italy, the Italian Grand Prix, round 7 of season 9. As always, I'm your host, James East. Bring the action 1080p, 60 frames a second on behalf of Team Goon Squad, and it looks like the grid is set here today for the opening sprint. Starting on pole, the defending points leader, Ray Aguilar. AJ Brenner starting second. The defending champ, Jaden Calloway, starts third. Julian Mador starting fourth. Gazi Zuhair starting fifth. Craig Brick starting sixth. Christian Gritzko starting seventh. Ryan Tebow starts eighth. Antonio Bianchi, the Italian stallion, starts ninth. Michael Fairchild starting 10th. Peter Rettinger starting 11th. Gareth McAllister, the world-famous Aussie, starting 12th. Cycling on back, Chase Small starting 13th. Alex Penn starts 14th. Jace Meyer starting 15th. Andrew Neri starts 16th. Xavier Zinave, the Flying Frenchman, starting 17th. Matt Foster starting 18th. Leo Delmas starting 19th. Arturo Mayorga starting 20th. Willie Morris starts 21st. Zachary Bowman starts 22nd. Felipe Ramos starting 23rd. And Ricardo Espino starting 24th. Will round out the grid here today. As always, thank you to the fans, friends, and family. Tune in, supporting the league, supporting the drivers, as well as supporting the broadcast. Let us know in YouTube where you're from, who you're cheering on, as drivers will very often have this broadcast pulled up on a separate monitor or device. And if they don't, they just about always go back and watch the show over. But we get ready for the lights to turn on, and then they will turn off, signifying the start here of the Italian Grand Prix. Now, in the past, the starts have been full of excitement here with these Super Formula drivers, and already it's going to be a very, very busy start as we try and shuffle them in here. I see a little bit of smoke. Got somebody pointing the wrong way. Looked like that may have been Leo Delmas. Might be taking a tow here. Now race leader and pole setter Ray Aguilar got away, but Jaden Calloway is hungry for redemption. He's our defending champ, sporting the number 1 plate on that Super Formula machine, and has had quite a series of bad luck here the last few rounds. Now Leo Delmas did take a tow back to pit road, so he will be retired from this event. Calloway extending the track surface there ever so slightly. Calloway taking a peek against Aguilar. Aguilar able to defend the champ at bay. Also see things are very heated just inside the top 10. There's Gareth McAllister. He's just ahead of Fairchild in 10th. Tebow in 11th. As everybody's trying to fight for position. Now the draft's going to be very, very strong here, as people are trying to shuffle through. Now it looks like Aguilar and Calloway getting a little bit of a breakaway. They're 9/10 up over AJ Brenner, but something has happened to Alex Penn, number 9 machine. Let's take a look, see what happened to him there, as he is off in the gravel. Looks like it's going to be a solo incident for Penn. Very uncharacteristic, the pilot of that number 9. Now Penn is running a limited schedule, so doesn't quite have as much seat time as some of the other drivers. Oh, and we're going to have a pile up now in the sprint. I don't think we're going to see the safety car come out. I'm trying to see who all was involved in that. I think it was Christian Gritzko, Gazi Zuhair. Were we 3 wide there? Well, that was going to end only one way as the field checks up and starts barreling in. Now, it looks like most of the drivers get through relatively unscathed, but saw quite a few collisions there. That's going to result in Peter Rettinger, Julian Mador, Shazi Zuhair, and Chase Meyer all taking tow. I think that was a separate incident. As we check in on Julian Mador, pushes wide there, or just pushes very wide. Let's see what happened to Shazi Zuhair as we're still loaded up on the replay. Not quite sure what happened there with so many drivers taking a tow back to pit road. Not sure if that was a disconnect issue or what the problem may be, but as we pan live and back up front, Callaway taking a shot for the lead against Aguilar. And it looks like Callaway's teammate AJ Brenner starting to join the party back in third. As we're side by side for the race lead, Callaway's got a 1/10 advantage. Brenner's going to try and pick up the draft here, and Brenner does click off the fastest lap of the race, a 1:30.75. Callaway trying to defend into one. Aguilar linked up right behind. Brenner looking for any opening he can find here. Now, last week there was contact between Brenner and his teammate Callaway. So I think they're going to be a little bit more cautious if they get too close out on track this time. Now, we had Christian Gritzko and Alex Penn come down pit road trying to get some damages repaired. If we go back, we have a battle for ninth. Xavier Zanave has Andrew Neri tucked in right behind. Willie Morris, Craig Brick, Matt Foster in tow as well. As I think that was Chase Small we saw dipping some tires. No, that might have been Xavier Zanave, who's losing a little bit more ground here to Neri. The dust getting kicked up here as drivers are really extending the track surface. Now, during the sprint race, accumulating off tracks isn't going to be a huge concern for these drivers, but during the feature event, we may see some drive-through penalties, as that was Matt Foster in the 32 machine racing for Inca Salsa, throwing that car around. Seems very tough for drivers to get any sort of breakaway. Now, Callaway, the race leader, answered with the fastest lap of the race, and I saw Aguilar closing the gap rather quickly there. And it looks like we have another battle. Neri and Zanave side by side, all across the circuit. Great racing. It looked like Willie Morris had to throw on the brakes full power in that 46 machine to avoid getting into Neri or Zanave as they both checked up in turn one. Now, if this is any sort of sign what's going to happen for the future, we're going to have a great race ahead of us tonight. They'll have 18 of the 24 drivers out on track. And I'm also worried that these guys are going to push a little bit too far up in the grass, and I think it's going to bite somebody here by the time the night is all over. Currently, you're watching the battle for 10th as Willie Morris is trying to track down Zanave and Neri, who have been going at it there. The 9th place spot, Callaway still holds on to the race lead, a quarter of a second up from Aguilar. A little bit further ahead, the battle for 7th, Chase Small pulling out alongside the Aussie, Gareth McAllister. McAllister in the green and yellow, number 25. Small just ahead of the number 5 machine, and it looks like they're catching up to Ryan Tebow in the 27 as well. So a lot of 2, 3, 4 car packs out here tonight, as we have an off-track reported for Andrew Neri. What happened to Neri there? That's Zanave. He grabs a little bit of curbing. And it looks like the car just didn't get quite settled in that 64 machine. And Neri is going to fall way down the standings, unfortunately. A 3-car shootout for the lead is Callaway hunting and pecking for an opening against, Aguilar. Hunting and pecking for a line against Callaway. Guys have been within a quarter of a second. The top three separated by 0.4 of a second the last few laps. Aguilar taking back over the race lead from Callaway, but that's going to put the two teammates right behind. Another driver reported retiring early. That's going to be Ricardo Espino. Let's see, are Callaway and Brenner going to work together? I imagine they would, as Brenner, the first driver into the 129s here. Looks like Callaway might have the line, as there's a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. This is what we've been waiting for. Callaway and Aguilar have not been able to race, from my perspective, against each other as much as I would like to see. These are absolute titans out on the circuit. Any chance we get to see the current points leader and the defending champ, and no! The commentators curse. Callaway goes around. Loses the rear wing. Callaway just can't catch a break. Let's see what happened there. Callaway was up front. Was there contact between Callaway and Aguilar? Surely there was. It looks like Aguilar just gets into the back of him. So Callaway with 7 laps, I don't think he's going to pit here. I think he's going to try and muscle it out. Callaway didn't have bad luck. That driver would not have any luck at all as he loses his spot to Michael Fairchild. Callaway still 5th in points, but not want to see Aguilar get another win. Coming to tonight, Callaway was 115 points back from Aguilar. And it looks like Aguilar is going to sit in second here behind Callaway's teammate, AJ Brenner. Now let's see, does Brenner try and defend here? Is Aguilar going to have something for him? As both drivers extending the track surface there. Now that's what we're talking about in the feature event. Are we going to see the off-track start to play a factor for these drivers? As here we go, the battle for the lead still underway. 6 laps left to go. Brenner now versus Aguilar. For the opening 4 laps, it looked like Brenner was going to be content with a third. Now he is right back in the hunt as they're side by side come the start-finish line. Aguilar showing ahead by less than 1/100th of a second here. Brenner is going to have the line for the first right-hander, but look at Michael Fairchild back and forth, answering with the fastest lap. Looks like Brenner is going to take the lead there soundly ahead of Aguilar. But Fairchild having a good run here in the number 88. He's up 6 spots. Fairchild still looking for his first podium of the season, currently 4th in points. He's about 4/10 back from Antonio Bianchi, piloting that number 17 machine. Those are two drivers that have a long history together, so that could be a great battle to keep an eye out as Fairchild continues to dig. Bianchi was on the push to pass, trying to build up a little bit of a barrier there. We go back up front. Aguilar closing once again within 2/10 of Brenner. Man, now I talked to the drivers before today's race and the warm-up practice session before qualifying, and the general sentiment I got was most incidents we were going to see tonight, the drivers were hedging on it being solo incidents. For the most part, I'd say that rings true, as we just watched Fairchild take over the third place spot from Bianchi. I believe Brenner and Aguilar had a bit of a checkup there in turn 1. Now, I don't think Fairchild and Bianchi are going to be able to pull themselves up with 4 laps left to whittle away at that almost 3-second advantage that Brenner and Aguilar have. We have yet another crash reported as Zachary Bowman and Matt Foster were involved in something there. Both of those cars were obliterated. Oh no! A huge incident! Thankfully, the other drivers were able to avoid that one. It looked like netcode between Foster and Bowman. I think it was. What an absolutely violent crash there, as it is an absolute yard sale. Car parts scattered all across the circuit. Both drivers immediately take a tow to get off of a hot track, so well done to them. And looks like the fireworks will continue against Aguilar and Brenner. And somehow they're still gaining ground over third place back. Fairchild holds about a 3/10 advantage over Bianchi. But it's going to be a bit of a game of cat and mouse here to see put themselves in the best position on the final lap. Historically, sometimes it's not the best time to be leading when the white flag is out. Brenner and Aguilar still going side by side at every opportunity. Brenner seems aggressive into turn 1, willing to throw that number 80 machine in there. Now Brenner's up 1 spot, Aguilar down 1. Our Chargers out on track is going to be Willie Morris in the 46 and Felipe Ramos the number 12. Both of those drivers, with Morris running 9th and Ramos running 11th, are up 12 positions here. A couple of laps left to go before the white flag is out. We've had a couple more incidents. Felipe Ramos was involved in something here, potting that number 73 machine. Also looked like Andrew Neri had some sort of mishap. Looks like it's going to be a solo incident for the Inca Salsa back number 73. And over to Neri, it's going to, I think, the same section where Neri had problems early on in the race. And once again loops the back end, this time a little bit quicker to get on the binder and slow it down to avoid going off track. Now what's the play going to be for the drivers? As Aguilar's on the push to pass, he's going to try and make a run at it in a turn 1. Rapidly closing there against Brenner. And behind them, that's Fairchild and Bianchi side by side. Brenner comes out on top in his duel, and Bianchi does the same. Bianchi back up to 3rd in the number 17 machine, edging Fairchild out of a podium position. This is great racing. 2 very distinct battles inside the top 3. It's Aguilar and Brenner battling for the race lead. Bianchi and Fairchild have closed the gap. They are a second back from the top 2 drivers. This could very well be a 4-car shootout before it is all said and done. And last time by is Bianchi, the fastest lap of the race. Bianchi's had a little bit of steam built up so far this season. Had some pretty solid results underneath him. He came into tonight 5th in points. This is going to be an absolute shootout. It's Aguilar, Brenner, Bianchi, Fairchild. Separated by about 2 seconds, 1st through 4th. Everybody running very equal pace here. And every time either one of these 2 packs of drivers throws the elbows out and start to try and get aggressive, slows the pace down. I mean, already you can see Aguilar and Brenner have pulled another second back to their name, as they didn't spend that entire lap battling like the lap prior. Who's going to be settling this one here? Aguilar holding on to about 3/10 advantage up over Brenner. Bianchi has about a half second over Fairchild. And those guys are getting very close to dipping some tires in the grass. I mean, as you see, both Aguilar and Brenner triggering the broadcast software, saying that was a very full off-track moment they had there. There's the two battles for the podium. Aguilar and Brenner have pulled about a 1.3 second gap over Bianchi and Fairchild. White flag is out. Aguilar is going to be up front. He's on the push to pass, trying to build up some ground there against Brenner. And look at that, Xavier Zanave, the flying Frenchman, sitting 8th, who's up 9 spots. Just clicked off a fast lap of the race as well, so well done to Zanave. Who's it going to be here? Right now it's Aguilar still leading, Brenner second, Bianchi holding on to third. I think we're going to see some last lap out here at the end. And what just happened? AJ Brenner is off track. Michael Fairchild has moved into second. Bianchi now third. The checkered flag is out. What just happened here at the Italian Grand Prix? Aguilar wins it. Fairchild second. Bianchi third. What happened to AJ Brenner? It looked to be a solo incident. You can tell he's on the ragged edge, caught the grass, and that's all she wrote. The second and third place drivers are able to get through it, and then Brenner trying everything he can to limp it to the line, but there is no car left, still on the push to pass. And what a finish as our racers are signing off in their own spectacular fashion. Don't save the cars, boys. We still have a feature to go. As we're going to try and get these drivers up here to victory lane. And what a finish to start the night here. Italian Grand Prix. We're going to try and get all of these drivers up here to victory lane. I want to check. Last time we've seen Fairchild on a podium. Good for him for getting back up in the mix. Still wait on Antonio Bianchi, the Italian stallion. And then waiting as well on Aguilar. So we'll get things started with my old-time friend, Antonio Bianchi. Join us in third. Antonio, it looks like you guys are going to be fighting tooth and nail till the end for a podium spot and able to lock up a third on a wild last lap for a sprint.
Yeah, no, it was good. With AJ Reckon there, it gave us another position, but fortunately lost it at the end of Michael. I wanted to throw the block, but honestly finishing the race was more important to me, so I figured it was probably better off to just give him the inside and not do any crazy stuff. We got another big race ahead of us, so yeah, no, good though. I'll take a third. No complaints there coming from ninth.
Yeah, I mean, a huge gain for you here, and I mean, that I believe this is the second time this season we've seen you and your teammate on the podium. Is that correct?
It is, yeah. No, I guess the second time now. I think it's 2 for 2 after last week's. I think it was feature race actually. So, or I mean, single race.
Well, it's good to have you back up here. What's the odds of us getting that number 17 machine back into the top 3 following a feature event that it seems like if this sprint's any sign, it's going to be a pretty wild race?
Yeah, the draft is just so crazy here. I mean, it almost makes the button irrelevant. So yeah, I think it's going to be pretty crazy again.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I know the fans are at home, Antonio. And before I let you go and get ready for the feature, who do you want to give a shout out to that helped make it happen?
Shout out to my teammate battling there with AJ. Actually kept us in the mix. I would say shout out to Fairchild too. Actually, he didn't fight me too hard. I told him there at the midway point of the race, I was like, hey, let's just take it easy and catch these guys, and we did that. So other than that, though, that's about it.
Awesome, Antonio. Always a good time having you up here, buddy. Congratulations on third, and hope to have you back up following the feature event tonight.
Sounds good, man. We'll see you soon.
Sure. That was Antonio Bianchi bringing it home in third. Up next, Michael Fairchild, first podium of the season. Welcome back, buddy.
Yes. What's it like being up here? I see there's like steps and champagne. What the heck?
Yeah,
I didn't know-
welcome to the top 3. I mean, I want to say it's been at least since last season we've had you up here, right?
Yeah, I was just talking about it in the cool down room, and I was like, has it been since F3 I've had a podium? Did I have a Super Formula podium before? I can't remember. It's been so long.
Well, I mean, it was a great race. Bianchi was telling us that you guys opted to kind of calm down a little bit and try and catch the top 3 and then, kind of settle out the podium when you got there. But all of a sudden, we see one wadded up race car, and then suddenly you're in the chance for a top 2.
Yeah, usually those top 2, 3 guys are like, 10 seconds ahead, but once they're like 4 seconds, okay, let's just do our thing and draft off each other. That really helped him and myself to be right there at the end, and we got, I guess AJ ran into the wall. I haven't seen the replay yet. But yeah.
And for your own benefit, the last time we had you up on the podium,
Okay.
survey says, find it here quick. I do some scrolling, my friend.
I know.
Looks like
I think it's been over 6 months.
July 27th, 2023
July.
was a Spa GP. I think that was a feature event. You brought home a podium.
Was that a Super Formula or F3?
Yeah, that was an F3.
F3, that's what I thought. F3. So it's been a whole different car regulations and everything. Been chipping away. All season I've been pushing too hard, racing too hard, and I spin myself, right? I think I only had one other incident where I crashed another car myself. It's all been self-imposed incidents. So, yeah, calming down really helped.
Michael, as your friends, we've always given you a hard time for some of the incidents you've been involved in. A guy that we know can take it. So it's cool to have you up here in the top 3. And I do want to correct myself, my friend. It was November 30th at Barcelona you picked up a podium in a sprint in a Super Formula. So credit where credit is due. Second Super Formula. And so with that mindset, what's it taken to kind of calm yourself down and realize, hey, I've got to be here at the end of this thing to get the points?
Sometimes it just, for some drivers like me, it just takes battle scars that you have to be whipped with that belt over and over again to finally learn my lesson. Crashing, spinning, especially at Road Atlanta, where I was like this last lap, I spin it and crash myself in a top 5 position. That really angered me. So that's why I just need to calm down and finish these races.
Well, Michael, it's good to have you up here again. The beatings will continue until morale improves. We wish you the best of luck in the feature. And before I let you go, buddy, who do you want to give a shout out to that helped make this second place possible?
My wife and kids, Sajay Zuhair, my best teammate. He's so calming. He's saying, "You got this, bro," in the radio chat. So shout out to my teammate for Zucchi Racing.
Awesome. Michael, always a pleasure, buddy, and best of luck in the feature.
Thank you.
That was Michael Fairchild, his career best finish in the Super Formula. And up next, the man, the myth, the legend, Ray Aguilar, bringing home the win and maybe extending that points lead a little bit tonight.
Yeah, I guess it worked out. I kind of took out Jaden. Don't know how that happened. Late on the brakes or I don't know. Tapped him. I feel really bad. I feel like I just ran over a cat or something.
I mean, poor Callaway. He's liked by everybody in the paddock.
I know, and he's had such a terrible season. I had one last season. He's now on it. He's had such a terrible season, and I just added to it. I was trying to be the guy that didn't add to it.
Well,
Here we
Aguilar,
are.
as
I feel
somebody who's
terrible.
historically, you've been in that seat where you're a defending champ or in the running and things kept going terribly. How did you kind of overcome that and transfer that into a season like you're having this year?
It's a good question. Honestly, I just started taking it more serious. Last season, I was crashing a lot, and that's really good fuel to go, you know what? I'm having a bad season. I'm not going to put a bunch of effort into this, and I just decided that I'm not going to make excuses anymore. Most of the time when things happen, you can always find a way that you contributed to them, and so I just started taking responsibility, started training. I run like Rocky. I run 5 miles every morning and, run up the stairs and everything.
Raw eggs?
So I can't do that, but what I can do is I've been drinking this tea that's supposed to keep me alive for like it's actually called invincible tea or whatever to keep me from dying. So, uh, yeah, I should live another million years.
Well, I mean, for the sprint race, compared to seasons past, the T is working because we had you on the bingo board for crashing out of a sprint race. So far, you've been kind of able, I'd say, to negate that for the most part. But, Ray, you're starting on the top spot for the feature event. We saw in the sprint, it doesn't seem like that number one starting position is super beneficial where it's relatively easy to track down a driver if you stay in the draft.
Yeah, no, this track is nuts. It's, there, whatever you do, there's going to be someone that you can gain about 8/10 in this track, and then it's all gone at the end of the straight. So I'm not really sure what to do. I'm thinking maybe I would try to use the button a little early, something like that, and see if I can get out of the tow. But if you got any ideas, hit me up during the race and let me know what
Yeah,
what I
we'll
need to do different.
drag you in the booth midway through.
Yeah, right on the pit board. Just right on the pit board and hold it out the side of the booth.
Let Brock by. But Ray, so with the tire strategy now going to be in play, are we going to see a safety car here in the feature?
Yes. In terms of a long race on a track like this, turn one is going to deliver a safety car. It always does.
I'll be interested to see if that one rings true. But Ray, good to have you back up here in the top spot. Hopefully we can see you repeat it in the feature event. Before I let you go, get ready, maybe down some garlic ginger tea. Who do you want to give a shout out to that helps make this happen for you?
Well, I'm going to shout out Jaden for ruining his race, and I'm really sorry. I feel terrible. And mostly Antonio, think about what he went through. He just soaked up some extra points there, so he's doing great. And I want to thank my kid. She's been sick lately, hasn't been feeling well, and she managed to get well enough today to let her dad come down here and do some racing at night and pretend like I'm a race car driver. So there's that.
Awesome. Very well said. Best of luck to you. We hope your daughter feels better and hope to see you after the feature event as well, my friend.
I love you too, James.
Love you. That was Ray Aguilar bringing it home in the top spot. He was accompanied by Michael Fairchild and Antonio Biaggi. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 20 seconds as we get ready to send him right back out for the feature event here at League Zero, the Italian Grand Prix. Told you to be quick as we are back and gridding them up here for the feature event. Hopefully the drivers had a little bit more time than we did in the booth. No time for water breaks or anything up here. Now, as a reminder to the fans, the grid is set from your result in the sprint race. We're waiting for a couple drivers to take the grid. More than a couple. Looks like about a half dozen or so. Looks like people starting to make their way out. There's Aguilar waiting on Ramos, Brick, Espino, Gritzko, and Rediger. Drivers, I wonder if we're going to have some guys sitting out. Good to see Jace Meyer join us in the spectator area. He's out on track starting 22nd for the feature event. Didn't have the sprint race he was looking for, but good to see him back out on track and trying to make something happen here. Here we go as we are ready for the lights to go on. Looks like Rettinger in the 44 is not going to be starting. The lights are off and we are underway. Oh, and already seeing some carnage back here. Hold it together. Somebody has been at the start-finish line. Looks to be a relatively small incident. Well, let's go back up front. Are we going to get through turn one? All right, Zachary Bowman takes a tow. I heard some bumping, some grinding, and some body work being sacrificed. But it looks like we're going to get through turn one, lap one relatively okay here. Now keep an eye out. I'm looking to find Jaden Calloway. Was, I think it's fair to say, taken out of the feature event. And is back in it. So he started 13th, has already made his way up to 9th. Christian Gritzko takes a tow back to pit road. We got Dylan Waldron joining us in the spectator area. I want to get some replays queued up here from the production team, but things are very tight out on track. I don't quite want to get it panned away yet. And these drivers are flicking these cars around. That's Chase Small trying to hunt down Ryan Tebow side by side in the battle for 5th. Small ahead by about 0.05 of a second. It's going to be tight here into the right-hander. Looks like Small is going to make the outside line work. But keep an eye out right behind now. Tebow, you've got Xavier Zanave, Jaden Calloway. Something has happened. Shazi Zuhair's coming down pit road. Zuhair, we saw try some alternative strategies, but we're going to be 3 wide briefly into turn 1. Zanave was way offline there, having to check up. Let's get some replays queued up. To start, it's going to be Zachary Bowman having issues on the starting line of the 96 machine. And that was not a good start from the field, and not what Bowman wants to remember this one by. Also see what happened the second crash of the day. Leo Delmas and Christian Gritzko were involved in something. We're focused in on Delmas here. I think it's going to be ahead of him. Delmas comes in. They're not really involved in an incident. Heavy on the brakes, but well done to Delmas having the foresight there to lift hard and early on. Right now it's Aguilar, Bianchi, Fairchild. 1, 2, 3, very close to what we saw in the opening sprint of the night. But I am curious to see Ryan Tebow is going to come down pit road, a very early undercut. Still focusing on Zanave versus Brenner. Callaway has already moved his way up into 6th. He is screaming in that number 1 machine. All off track there. Trying to get back on the circuit and get that thing spooled up and moving forward. So now you've got Small, Zanave, and Morris. Almost separated by less than a 1/10 between the 3 of them. Well done to these drivers, keeping it clean and making it look easy out on track. Something has happened. Michael Fairchild. Oh, is parked in a precarious spot there as he falls down the standings. He's looking for a clean opening to rejoin it. It takes him too long to find it. Doesn't want to pull out in a hot track. Let's see what happened to Fairchild. Was that a solo incident in the number 88 machine? It was. Car was just a little unsettled. Grazes the wall. Avoids coming out into a hot track. But that's going to put Gareth McAllister, their world famous Aussie, up into podium contention. McAllister, this is going to be his 167th start here at League Zero. He picked up a podium last week at Silverstone in the feature event. But he also had 15 incident points to his name. Yeah, Dylan Waldron asking us a little bit about the track. We're racing at Monza here today, a very historic Grand Prix. And tonight it has been mostly solo incidents where drivers have been having issues. And especially at Monza, we've had a lot of drivers really fighting the track as well as fighting the off tracks. Now here at League Zero, you only get so many off tracks before you can have to come down pit road and serve a penalty. So I think that's going to be a factor by the time this is all said and done. Reminder as well to the fans, drivers have 200 seconds of push to pass. The magic button to squeeze a little bit more power in the Super Formula. As we watch McAllister, the halo blinking green fast right above him, signaling that he is on the magic button, trying to track down Antonio Bianchi. And Del McAllister was on it there, clicks off the fastest lap of the race. The Aussie wants to catch these top two drivers. The slow blinking signifies that he is on a cooldown from using that push to pass again. But that does not recharge like DRS in a Formula One machine. That is a set amount they can use per race. As well tonight, drivers do have a mandatory tire stop. But they have to come down pit road and grab a new set of tires at least once during this event. Formulas do not allow for refueling, so everybody's good to go on fuel and the cars will only get lighter. But yeah, another incident reported, this time a fan favorite, Shazi Zuhair, following that number 10 machine. Running 13th on track. The same story we've seen all night. Loses the tail end, around she goes. Now Zuhair getting some pressure from Ricardo Espino. You've also got Ryan Tebow. Came in for an undercut, and it looks like Alex Penn is in this pack as well. I say it week in and week out, but my favorite part about calling the action here at the League Zero Super Formula Series is, doesn't matter your skill level, doesn't matter where you're out on track, you will find yourself involved in a heated battle. As Ricardo Espino has a big blink in front of Ryan Tebow. When that's happening, Tebow doesn't know where that number 90 machine is going to reappear at. Tebow's going to try and make quick work of Espino here. And that's going to put Alex Penn watching a very heated battle right ahead of him. Shazi Zuhair coming down pit road. Espino and Tebow go side by side. Alex Penn still watching along behind. Tebow's going to have the inside line for this first right-hander. Will he have enough? Is there contact between the two? Tebow and Espino, wheel-to-wheel contact. Looks as they get through unscathed, but Espino has problems putting the power down. I wonder if he was on the push to pass there and just wasn't able to get the grip he was looking for. Shazi Zuhair back out on track. There's Espino battling with Penn. Penn trying to get some momentum built up in that 90 machine. No, excuse me, the number 9 machine. It's the 9 of Penn versus the 90 of Espino. Yeah, gotta agree with Waldron over on the spectator side of the fence. A lot of good, clean, aggressive driving. I think that's the big thing I want to drive home is these guys are putting on a good show and staying relatively safe. Now, Chase Small's going to be side by side with Meyer, but here comes Leo Delmas in the number 21 machine. Delmas, our hard charger, out on track. He's up 15 spots, working his way all the way up into 9th. Also looks like Julian Medor piloting the number 78 machine closing the gap as well. Medor holding on to a top 10 position. Now sometimes up here in the broadcast booth, the off-track counter not always the most accurate, but right now my software is showing McAllister sitting in 3rd with 12 off tracks. Now, we don't know how accurate that truly is, but that is something the young Aussie driver needs to keep an eye out on. He does not want to serve a drive-through penalty. Wants to try and bring home back-to-back podiums, so sometimes it's a little bit wiser for these drivers to back off slightly. Aguilar still holding on to the race lead here. Bianchi tucked in behind his podium. Not sure how close these two are going to battle, as I think they have team championships for the Avanti Motorsports drivers in their minds. As McAllister is losing a little bit of time here, but I think that may be for McAllister, as we said earlier, backing off to avoid the off tracks. And we did have another small pileup report. It looks like this time it's going to be Jace Meyer and I think Chase Small involved. Small had to take a tow back to pit road. Small, I don't know if Small turned in or if Meyer was late on the brakes, but that's going to be hard damage. And Small was briefly going back to the right direction, but must have realized there was too much damage in the machine to continue. Takes a tow back to pit road, retires from the event. And here we go. There's Fairchild, Delmas, and Medor. I wonder if Medor got a slowdown penalty, as he had to lift very, very hard here. And that's going to leave Delmas and Fairchild battling for 7th. Looks like Delmas just ahead. He is now up 17 positions, so getting some momentum built up on the push to pass to try and keep Fairchild at bay. Man, look at Delmas flat tracking that number 21 machine around. Hard on the power. Fairchild had that second Super Formula podium just the sprint race prior. Looking to make it a back-to-back. I think that would definitely be his first back-to-back in this car. Delmas up into 7th, holding on to it. AJ Brenner piloting the number 80 machine. Didn't have the sprint result he was looking for, but he's going to come down pit road for that one green flag stop. Well, this is good. Fairchild and Delma still side by side. Fairchild trying to get set up for the inside line. There's Julian Medor in the 78. We think Medor had a slowdown the lap prior. Wait for the lap times to update here. Or wasn't that far off pace, a 131.07. But he's going to do himself no favors here as he is off track. Taking the drive-through, avoiding the slowdown barriers. So that's going to leave Fairchild and Delma still battling for 6. Now Fairchild in that higher spot. Let's pan back up front. Aguilar and Bianchi still linked up nose to tail. Something has happened. Jace Myers showed involved in another incident. Not quite sure where that happened at. Was that going to be another turn 1, I wonder? Yeah, just too late on the brakes there. Medor's down pit road, and I'm trying to look. Christian Gritzko, we got a report that Gritzko was apologizing to some other drivers. To look back and see what incident the number 91 machine is talking about here. Yeah, Gritzko, I think that was the second race in a row. He tried to force a 3-wide situation. That just wasn't going to happen. And look at this battle, Tebow versus Penn. Side by side, both drivers flinging these cars around. The push to pass and sync as it recharge. Great racing. Now Gareth McAllister, who was running third in pit road. Still side by side, these guys are going at it. Tebow and Penn putting on a show for 8th place here tonight. Now both drivers came down pit road on lap 2 for their mandatory tire stop. So both drivers on an equal tire strategy here, and these guys are put on such a great show. I don't know if they know they're battling for 8th here, but man, am I glad they're going at it. Both drivers extremely well liked in the paddock. Now we're still waiting for the current top 3 drivers, Aguilar, Bianchi, and Zanave, to come down pit road. McAllister showed another off track there. Not sure if that was accurate, but man, he's got to be dangerously close to getting a penalty if he has not already warranted one. I'm going to be very interested to see how that one pans out. Aguilar and Bianchi still first and second. Oh, a big lag spike there. Now I'm curious to see where is Zanave going to be once this pit cycle completes. Is he going to be sitting in third? Or is McAllister going to be back in a podium position? We've got Nikiette join us in the spectator area, enjoying some great racing all across the track. And speaking of, we go back to fifth. There's Michael Fairchild, Jaden Calloway, and AJ Brenner. 5th, 6th, and 7th. Looks like Brenner's going to try and make a move on his teammate here. Wonder if they're playing a little bit of leapfrog. As they are drafting to the start-finish line. Everybody looking for a line here. Brenner pulls out, pulls up alongside Fairchild. I would imagine Callaway's going to hang back here a little bit. Doesn't want to put himself too much in danger. As I say that, looks like Callaway was throwing the nose in against Fairchild. Maybe not wanting to let his teammate Brenner get away. This is great racing everywhere. Now Callaway, the defending champ, needs to focus on points here. Barring some sort of major incident for Aguilar, this is all going to be about just trying to salvage a night here at the Italian Grand Prix. Back up front, Aguilar and Bianchi 4/10 apart. I have a very strong suspicion, call it broadcaster's intuition if you will, or maybe the fact that I know those two are teammates. I don't think they're going to dice it up too much here with 11 laps left to go. I think they are more than content linking up nose to tail, using that draft to try and pull away, and just wanting to avoid any incidents. Now, they may catch traffic by the time this is all said and done. You can see Jace Meyer and Arturo Mayorga on the track map running 15th and 16th. They're about, I would say, about 10 seconds ahead, on track 10 seconds ahead of the race leaders. And Aguilar and Bianchi look like they're gaining 2 to 4 seconds over the further back part of the field here, so they may very well catch them by the time it's all said and done. It's going to really depend on how the pit cycles come into play. Somebody, I think Zanave briefly had an off track. And he's kind of in no man's land here. He's about 20 seconds back from Antonio Bianchi, about 17 seconds ahead of McAllister. Now, I'm thinking that McAllister should work his way back up into third following the completion of this pit stop. But before the dust settles here tonight, as I say that, McAllister had another big off-track alert, and he is going to be losing time to the teammates who are linked up nose to tail, looming in the rearview mirror. That's AJ Brenner, Jaden Calloway, both drivers looking for some redemption here. Brenner came down pit road on lap 9, Calloway on lap 10. Another battle developing. It's going to be Willie Morris versus Felipe Ramos. This will be the battle for 10th out on track. Morris having a good run on that 46 machine. Now he's still down 2 spots from where he started this race. But it's good to see Willie making more and more progress as this season progresses. He's a relative newcomer to the series. Racing, I believe, the last few with us. No, not even that long. This is Morris's 14th race start. Joined League Zero back in September of last year. And his highest finish has been in 8th. That was October back at Motegi. So good to see Morris making some big strides here. As he holds on to that 10th place spot. They're about 5.5 seconds back from Tebow, who is holding on to 9th. Like Morris, yep, on the push to pass, trying to build up a little bit of a gap there against Ramos. About 9 laps left to go at the Italian Grand Prix. We're going to see a lot of drivers, if they can just hold strong, bring home some personal best here tonight. The race leaders, Ray Aguilar, Antonio Bianchi, first and second, down pit road together. Apparently, there we go. I didn't think we had a camera angle pointed over there. Let's see, does Zanave also box this lap, or is he going to stay out? Zanave stays out. Aguilar and Bianchi are going to roll out of pit road, but now they've got Zanave ahead of them. Zanave, the Flying Frenchman, may get credit for a lap led here tonight. Michael Fairchild down pit road, so that's just going to leave Zanave, who has yet to box, with 9 laps left to go. Now we're waiting to see, where is that going to put McAllister? No, McAllister has lost a spot to AJ Brenner. So that may put Brenner up into podium contention once Zanave comes down pit road for that mandatory tire stop. And now McAllister has Jaden Calloway right in tow. Calloway has that number 1 plate for a reason. He is absolutely no slouch. And we know McAllister might be testing the limits of off tracks here already. Just needs to play it safe and bring home a good points paying position. Calloway, though, he's going to send it here on the push to pass, tucked in behind McAllister, pulls up alongside the left of that number 25 machine. Calloway going to get there in time. McAllister sees him, gives him the room. And Calloway has worked his way back into a top 5. This is exactly what Calloway needs. McAllister trying to stay right there with him, looking for some alternative lines against Calloway. Tucked in behind. Zanave did stay out, so he is going to get credit for a lap led here. Oh, look at this. McAllister says, I'm not giving it up that easy. Fires it right back against the defending champ. Calloway's got to be careful here. It is all about championships in the mind of Calloway. But McAllister, not afraid to go for it. Driving with a little bit of aggressiveness we haven't seen out of that 25 in quite a while. And he is going to make Calloway work for that 5th place spot. Now your current points leader, Ray Aguilar, does have the all-time record for most laps led here at League Zero. But with half the starts, Calloway is on about a same average of laps ran versus laps led. Aguilar also holds the record for most wins here, as we see Xavier Zanave finally down pit road. Fitzsimmons has the second most amount of wins with Russell Soto third. Callaway, though, again, not nearly as many starts. Still fifth in the leaderboard with all-time wins. There's AJ Brenner, worked his way up into third, so Zanave came out on track. Looks to be now seventh with a track position. So lost a little bit more time than I was expecting there. As we go on board the Aussie, Gareth McAllister. And it looks like Callaway's starting to break away just a little bit here. Antonio Bianchi. They've made it. This could possibly be 3 in a row for the Avanti Motorsports drivers of team podiums. And a 1-2 sweep for that team would be absolutely spectacular for them. Let's get points pulled up here as well. Coming into tonight, Avanti Autosport, not Motorsport. I'm gonna get an earful for these drivers for that mistake. They did come into tonight as the team points leader. I believe it's pronounced Ducky Racing second in points and Squid Gang Racing third in points. I also noticed there's 3 different Inca teams out on track. You've got Inca Chips Racing, Inca Queso Racing, and Inca Salsa Racing. So the Inca drivers out here in force this season. A little bit further back to Callaway and McAllister, staying linked up here, still about 4/10 separating the two drivers. Callaway going with quite a few off tracks as well in the broadcast software. And not quite able to break away from McAllister. You can see McAllister wasn't even on the push to pass there at the start-finish line, but picking up a massive tow from Callaway. Wondering if these two are going to try and work together a little bit to maybe track down Brenner and squeeze some more points home. Callaway 4th in points. Brenner 12th in points, so Brenner can make some grounds here in the championship run. 4 laps left to go. McAllister's still right there behind Callaway. This is the battle for 4th. They are not gaining much time on AJ Brenner sitting in 3rd. Aguilar still on pace, clicks off the fastest lap of the race. Bianchi just 0.06 of a second slower. So those two Avanti Autosports cars absolutely screaming up front. Now, even though they're teammates, even though they've got championships in mind, I can't help but wonder, are we going to see Bianchi go for it if he's still right there with Aguilar on the final lap? Now they do have a little bit of traffic ahead with Meyer, and I believe that's gonna. No, it's just gonna be Jace Meyer ahead of the 2 race leaders here. And look at the gap. Aguilar and Bianchi have built up a 12-second advantage over the rest of the field. There's the lap traffic ahead of Aguilar. Shirley Meyer sees the blue flag being displayed, letting him know the class leaders, the race leaders, are quickly approaching. But they're not going to catch them before, they're not going to catch Meyer before the chicane. And you can see Aguilar using the push to pass a little bit there. Maybe helping to tow Bianchi forward. Still a 12-second gap. Bianchi all over the curbing there. Is going to lose a little bit of time. Almost 3/4 tenths to Aguilar, his teammate. Callaway back and forth. Just had his fastest lap of the race, but unless there's some sort of huge incident inside the top 3, Callaway is going to be outside the podium here. But we've seen crazier things happen here at League Zero. And speaking of incidents, Felipe Ramos and Willie Morris might have just been involved in one. I think it's going to be Ramos that triggers this, as Morris was behind, so Ramos throws it away in turn 1. Morris, look at that. I think he got that car all the way airborne. I want to try and get a look here. You saw him hop the curbing to avoid Ramos. Watch, does he get all 4 up in the air? Ah, it's close. I'm going to count it. Morris was able to come through that relatively unscathed. The white flag will be out next time. Bye. The big question is, are there team orders in play? Or are we going to see Bianchi go for it here? I believe Bianchi's still looking for that first Super Formula win. You can see both drivers on the push to pass. Like Aguilar's wicking it up a little bit here. Both drivers, a little bit too far for Bianchi, as he is going to hemorrhage time here against his teammate Aguilar. It has been since 2022 since Bianchi has picked up a win. Still looking for the first one in the Super Formula. And Aguilar is about to put down a heater of a lap time. He loves his teammate to death, but he does not want to see these two battling for the lead. Aguilar wants to check out here as both are on the push to pass. The white flag is displayed. Look at the lap time from Aguilar, a 1:28.47. The first driver all night to get into the 1:28. Now this is interesting. Jaden Callaway catching up to AJ Brenner and doing so rather quickly. So Callaway, we talked about it earlier, we didn't think a podium was going to be possible. But it looks like it might be in the cards here for Callaway. He's going to battle intently with his teammate. They've got a little over a half a lap to let this thing get sorted out. Aguilar makes his way through the final couple of corners here at the Italian Grand Prix. Aguilar is gonna make it back-to-back here tonight. A clean feature event. Antonio Bianchi will get second, but who's it going to be for third? AJ Brenner trying to fight tooth and nail for it. His teammate Callaway runs up the inside. We're about to quickly find out, are there team orders in play? I don't know who just got third there. It shows Callaway. The two Avanti Autosport drivers celebrating a big 1-2 here. And thoroughly enjoying the limelight. Looks like that's McAllister giving a bit of a wave to his friends. And then in typical fashion, we're going to wad up some perfectly good race cars before we send them off. Now we got a report. How is Aguilar going so fast with the wheels off? Alright, that makes more sense. We're going to get these drivers up here to victory lane as soon as the shenanigans have ended. Well, let's get things started with Mr. AJ Brenner. AJ, we were just briefly trying to get a hold of your teammate, Callaway. Live timing on my end actually showed Callaway ahead, but looks like you picked up a third here tonight.
To come across the line together, I think we might have made it a little closer than I might have expected. It showed me in fourth as well, but I looked at the results, it said third, so somehow.
Hey, we'll take it how we can. I mean, a great race from you and your teammate Callaway. I know the sprint didn't go the way you're looking for, but it's got to feel good for both of you guys to have a little bit of momentum built up after this.
Yeah, it's been a rough few races for both of us, so I think we were both just ready to get through the end of this one and just finish it off and get some momentum onto the next few races, so it was a nice feeling there.
Now, any tracks coming up that you're super excited about, super apprehensive about? Still a fairly long season left to go and get you guys back in the points hunt.
Ooh, what do we have next?
Next, Magello. Magello?
That's gonna be rough for me, so we'll see how that one goes.
Awesome, AJ. It's looking forward to it. I mean, I'm glad, seriously, things finally starting to turn around for the pair of you. Up 10 spots from where you started tonight. 11 spots. My live timing is lying to me, but how did you decide when to make passes and when to play it safe in that one?
You know, I kind of sent it on the initial start, went up the inside of the entire group, and then took about 6 or 7 spots there. So at that point, I was in a pretty good spot, and we just kind of pitted early, tried to undercut Antonio and Ray, and they were just too far away to make anything happen. But able to catch up to Gareth and made it a good race. So pretty happy with that result.
Well, good to have you back up here inside the top 3. AJ, before I let you go and celebrate, who do you want to give a shout out to that helps make this podium possible for you?
Just give a shout out to Squid Gang Racing, Jaden specifically. I keep on killing him in the races, so I got to stop doing that. It was improvement this time, so we're getting there.
Awesome. AJ, good to have you back up here, buddy. Best of luck in the rest of the season, and hope to talk to you more often.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. That was AJ Brenner bringing it home in third. Up next, we got the Italian stallion himself, Antonio Bianchi. Man, what a night.
Oh man, yeah, it feels good. I was not anticipating being here. I cannot lie. But yeah, no, that was fun, man. That was good.
Now, it seemed like tonight the toe was critical and prevented anybody from pulling away. At one point, I want to say we saw Aguilar on the push to pass. He was just kind of hanging right behind him, not a care in the world, staying right there in the draft.
Yeah, we were kind of teams ordering it there a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't have ever really challenged him for pace. He was pretty much just riding the whole race, and I was just kind of keeping behind him to see if we could tow away from the others. We were concerned Jaden was going to catch us, but then I think he had a little off in Ascaria behind Gareth there, so we kind of sealed the deal after that point from there on out. But yeah, no, just pretty much hanging with him. It went well actually. I thought my pace was pretty decent. We didn't really make any mistakes, so yeah, just overall good for the team result.
Yeah, a night of consistency for a lot of drivers. It seemed like most of the incidents we saw tonight were solo incidents for the most part. What made this track so tricky for everybody?
You know what? This setup is a little wiggly for the first like 3 or 4 laps on cold tires. So Ascari's pretty sketchy the first few laps, and then obviously you always have the cold tires into the two chicanes, unfortunately, for always the first couple laps. So it's always tends to be where the incidents happen. Somebody just going a little bit slower than you anticipate, hop a wheel, and then there's always that night ruiner there, unfortunately. But other than that, though, it's not too bad. But I can't say much. I didn't really have much traffic this last race.
Well, hey, sometimes things just kind of go your way. Good to see you finishing a great result both nights. The team sweep continues. I believe it makes it 3 races in a row. We've had both you drivers in the top 3. So a great night for you and your teammate. And Antonio, before I let you go, who do you want to give a shout to that made this second place possible for you?
As always, shout out to my teammate Ray. He for sure kept me in the draft there. I think he easily could have left my ass for dead there. So I'm pretty happy about that. Shout out to Gareth for trying to get a podium there, but also shout out to Jaden and AJ for clawing their way back there to a 3rd and 4th. That was a solid team result for both of them, especially after Ray ended up killing them there in the in the sprint. But yeah, and James, shout out for a great broadcast, and then yeah, thanks to everybody for showing up. Always fun being out here for every League Zero race. You guys make it great.
Awesome. Antonio, always well said, buddy. Good to have you back up here so frequently lately, and hopefully we keep this trend continuing.
I sure hope the trend continues, man, because I don't know what I'm doing different, but hopefully I'm eating the right stuff in the morning or something.
Yeah,
I'm going to keep eating it, whatever I'm doing.
Don't change anything. Antonio, good to have you back up here, bud.
Yeah, sounds good, man. We'll see you soon.
That was Antonio Bianchi bringing it home in second. But up next, the man, the myth, the legend, Ray Aguilar. Welcome back to the top spot. The sweep with the teammate continues. I mean, this is what you were looking for this season.
I know that's 2 times now. It couldn't have gone any better. I feel like we need to come up with a better intro phrase though. Man, myth, legend. We got to figure out something better.
I'm open to suggestions.
You've seen my hair. You've seen I have awesome long hair now. We got to figure out something.
It is on the broadcast currently as well.
Okay, I was gonna say, sweet. We need to tie that in. The photo on the broadcast that pops up is one with me and my cat.
Well, what's the cat's name? Inquiring minds must know now.
Her name's Daphne. Best cat that's ever lived.
She seems super rad. So is that the trick to the success this season? Is a better diet this support from the feline friends?
Yeah, I think so. But the problem is you got to keep her out of the sim pedals because they like to walk in between those, and that's like a real good way to get a tail or a paw chopped off.
Yeah,
we out of there.
Can't do that. But
they give and they take.
So Ray, in this race, but in the sprint race following, we talked about how that top spot maybe not a super big benefit with how powerful the draft is, but once you had your teammate linked up behind and broke away, is that when you guys kind of knew it was all over?
Yeah, I think going into it, I was watching the deltas, just trying to keep a gap, and I knew if I could keep Antonio, up close to me, we could kind of just keep a pace going. And kudos to him; he didn't make any mistakes. He didn't all it takes is one loose moment, and then you're, second and a half off and out of the toe. And he didn't do that. He held it in the whole time. So he did great. I'm glad I got to finish this. I know I had to kind of step on some skulls and murder some people to get here, but I'm sure I'll pay the price for that one.
Yeah, looking forward to the stewards review following this one. But Ray, talking about having your teammate behind, well, we know you're both very championship oriented, but were you worried at all Bianchi might have seen a possible win just ahead of him and might say, oh no, he's going to go for it?
No, I don't think he would do that. However, I did offer that up as an opportunity. I was like, maybe you can get some extra points by going by. But at the end, by the time we were talking about that, I had to start doing the fast lap runs to try to soak in those points too. So it didn't quite work out. But again, I'm telling you, I feel so guilty right now that I was willing to. I let AJ by after I had an incident. I was going to let Antonio by. I feel really bad. I apologize to Jaden. I really didn't mean to do that.
Well, that's part of racing. Sometimes you win some, sometimes you crash out a friend. But Ray, it's good to have you back up here at the top spot, back to back, a clean here tonight. A great race all the way around. We'll work on your hype intro for future broadcasts. But this one's not going to change. You've got the privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs of the night. Who do you want to give a shout-out to that helped make it happen?
Taco Bell, who's about to make it happen after I get off of here. And I want to thank my wife for putting up with me. I wasn't around on Valentine's Day, and I didn't send her flowers, and I kind of, ruined the whole day. And again, I want to thank my teammate for helping me, or, maintaining pace with me, and TGS for putting on an awesome show.
Awesome, Ray. Couldn't do it without you guys. Congratulations again. A lot of points being racked up for that 72 machine, and hope to see the streak continue for you.
I love you too, James.
I love you as well. That was Ray Aguilar bringing it home in the top spot. He was accompanied by his teammate, Antonio Bianchi, in second, and AJ Brenner rounding out the top three. On behalf of the League Zero Racing Series, the premier Formula iRacing League, my name has been James East with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Thank you all so much for our fans, friends, and family showing up in force, supporting the drivers, supporting the league, as well as supporting the broadcast. Thank you all again, and I'll see you next week. Have a great night, everybody.